The betrayal. Sophia Reeves stood at the window of their penthouse, watching London's skyline glitter against the evening sky. At 35, she had everything she'd worked for: a successful career as an architectural consultant, a beautiful home, and a marriage that, until recently, she would have called perfect. Her husband, Ethan, with his confident smile and visionary ideas, had swept her off her feet 8 years ago. Together, they'd built something remarkable. His real estate development company, Reeves Properties, had transformed forgotten neighborhoods into thriving communities, with Sophia's innovative designs bringing his ambitious projects to life. The pregnancy test had shown positive 6 weeks ago. Sophia had planned the perfect evening to tell Ethan, his favorite meal, candles, the works. But when she finally shared the news, his reaction wasn't what she had expected. "That's wonderful," he'd said, his smile not quite reaching his eyes. He hugged her, kissed her forehead, and poured himself another glass of wine. They discussed names, nursery colors, and plans for the future, but something had felt off. Since then, Ethan had become increasingly distant. Late meetings turned into missed dinners. Weekend plans were canceled for emergency site visits. When Sophia suggested they attend the first ultrasound together, Ethan had an unavoidable investor meeting he couldn't reschedule. Tonight, Sophia had finally had enough. She checked her watch, 9:30 p.m. Ethan had texted that he was wrapping up a meeting and would be home soon. On impulse, she grabbed her coat and ordered a car to his office building. The reception area was dark when she arrived, but the security guard recognized her. "Mrs. Reeves, Mr. Reeves left about 2 hours ago. Said he was heading to Luminous for dinner with investors." Luminous, the exclusive rooftop restaurant where they'd celebrated their anniversary last year. Sophia thanked the guard and redirected her driver. The maitre d' at Luminous greeted her warmly. "Mrs. Reeves, we haven't seen you in ages. Your husband is at his usual table." As she approached, Sophia saw Ethan laughing, his hand casually, resting on the bare shoulder of a woman with sleek dark hair. Veronica Taylor, the fitness model whose Instagram following had exploded after being named the face of a popular activewear brand. They'd met her at a charity gala 3 months ago. Sophia stood frozen, watching as Ethan leaned in to whisper something in Veronica's ear, making her giggle. The intimacy between them was unmistakable. When Ethan finally looked up and saw Sophia, the color drained from his face. "Sophia, this isn't—" "Don't," she said quietly, conscious of the other diners. "We'll discuss this at home." The ride back was silent. Inside their penthouse, Ethan immediately went on the defensive. "It's not what you think. We're discussing her investing in the Riverside project." "At 9:30 p.m., with your hand on her shoulder?" Sophia's voice remained calm, though her heart was racing. "How long has this been going on?" Ethan's shoulders slumped. 2 months. The admission hit her like a physical blow. 2 months, since before she'd told him about the baby. "Why?" she asked simply. "You wouldn't understand. Things have changed. I'm moving in different circles now with different expectations." He ran a hand through his perfectly styled hair. "Veronica understands the lifestyle I need to maintain. She enhances my brand." "Your brand?" Sophia felt nauseous. "What about our marriage? Our baby?" "I never planned for any of this to happen." Ethan looked at her, his expression hardening. "But you've been so focused on your career and now this baby? I need someone who prioritizes supporting me, who fits the image I'm building." In that moment, Sophia saw her husband clearly for the first time, not as the visionary she'd fallen in love with, but as a man consumed by appearances and ambition. "I see." She took a deep breath. "I'll be staying at Olivia's tonight. We can discuss logistics tomorrow." As she packed an overnight bag, Ethan watched from the doorway. "You're overreacting. We can work through this." Sophia looked at him, one hand instinctively protective over her still flat stomach. "No, Ethan, we can't." That night, as Olivia comforted her, Sophia remembered Dr. Julian Wong, her former professor and mentor who'd relocated to Singapore years ago. He'd always told her she had extraordinary talent and had repeatedly offered her a position at his architectural innovation firm. With shaking hands, she composed an email. The subject line read, "Is your offer still open?" The departure. The sleek glass towers of Singapore loomed ahead as Sophia's plane began its descent. 4 months pregnant now, she felt a flutter in her stomach that wasn't just her baby moving. It was fear, excitement, and determination all mingled together. Dr. Julian Wong met her at the airport, his kind face breaking into a wide smile when he spotted her. At 62, he still had the same boundless energy that had inspired Sophia during her university days. "My brightest student returns. At last," he said, embracing her, "though I wish under happier circumstances." During the drive to her temporary accommodation, Julian filled her in on the details of her new position at Wong Architectural Innovations. She would be leading their new sustainability division, focusing on eco-friendly high-rise designs. Her specialty. "Singapore is just the beginning," Julian explained. "The whole region is experiencing unprecedented development. Dubai, Kuala Lumpur, Bangkok, they're all competing for the most innovative skylines." Sophia nodded, gazing out at the lush greenery interspersed between Singapore's ultra-modern buildings. "I've been researching Dubai's construction boom. Their vision is ambitious, but their current approaches aren't sustainable in such a harsh climate." Julian glanced at her with a knowing smile. "That's why I mentioned it. There's a massive opportunity there for someone with your expertise." That night, unable to sleep in her new apartment, Sophia began sketching. By morning, she had filled her tablet with designs that merged her aesthetic sensibilities with practical solutions for desert architecture. Cooling systems that utilized traditional wind tower concepts, facades that maximized shade while harvesting, solar energy, and integrated greenhouse spaces that could thrive in controlled environments. The following weeks fell into a rhythm. By day, Sophia worked with Julian's team, impressing them with her innovative approaches. By night, she researched Dubai's architectural landscape and property development regulations, identifying a niche for truly sustainable luxury designs that the Emirates' developers hadn't yet explored. Her divorce proceedings with Ethan progressed remotely. He had initially balked at her demands, but when his lawyer pointed out that her contributions to Reeves' properties entitled her to a significant settlement, he reluctantly agreed to her terms. The penthouse was sold, and Sophia received both, her fair share of their assets and full custody of their unborn child. Olivia kept her updated on London gossip. Ethan and Veronica had made their relationship public, appearing together at industry events where they cultivated an image of power couple glamour. Meanwhile, whispers circulated about Reeves' properties' increasingly risky investments. 6 weeks after arriving in Singapore, Sophia received an invitation to present at a sustainable development conference in Dubai. Julian encouraged her to go. "This could be your opportunity," he said. "I've arranged meetings with several developers who'll be attending. If you impress them, and I know you will, you could establish your own consultancy there." "But I'm 5 months pregnant," Sophia protested. "Is this really the time to be launching a business?" Julian's expression softened. "My dear, if not now, when? Use what others see as your weakness as your strength. In my experience, those who underestimate a pregnant woman quickly learn their mistake." The conference was held at an opulent hotel, overlooking the Persian Gulf. Sophia's presentation on Vertical Oases reimagining desert architecture drew unexpected attention. Her designs weren't just aesthetically striking, they promised 40% reductions in energy costs and water usage, figures that made developers sit up and take notice. Among those impressed was Rayana Al Fahim, heiress to one of Dubai's largest construction companies. After the presentation, she approached Sophia. "Your concepts are revolutionary," Rihanna said, her dark eyes sharp with intelligence. "But theory and execution are different matters. Are you prepared to prove these designs work in our climate?" "Given the opportunity, absolutely," Sophia replied. Rihanna smiled. "Then let's discuss a test project. Something small enough to be manageable, but significant enough to attract attention, if successful." Over dinner, they sketched out plans for a boutique hotel that would showcase Sophia's sustainable design principles. By the end of the evening, Sophia had secured her first client and a powerful ally. Back in her hotel room, she placed a hand on her growing belly. "What do you think, little one? Should we make Dubai our home?" As if in response, the baby kicked, the strongest movement Sophia had felt yet. The next morning, she called Julian with her decision. A week later, she moved into a serviced apartment in Dubai Marina, registered her new company, Vertex Designs, and began the process of establishing herself in a city where ambition was the primary currency. At night, watching the desert sunset paint the sky in fiery hues, Sophia would sometimes think of Ethan, not with longing, but with a strange sense of gratitude. His betrayal had forced her to leap into the unknown, where she was discovering strengths she never knew she possessed. "Thank you," she whispered to the horizon, "for showing me what I'm capable of." The rebirth. The July heat in Dubai was oppressive, even with the air conditioning running at full capacity. At 8 months pregnant, Sophia felt perpetually uncomfortable as she directed operations from her newly established office in Business Bay. The space was modest, just a reception area, a conference room, and 2 private offices, but the floor-to-ceiling windows offered a spectacular view of the Burj Khalifa, serving as daily inspiration. Rihanna had been true to her word. Construction on the boutique hotel, named Cedar Oasis after the indigenous desert tree, was progressing rapidly. Sophia had insisted on frequent site visits despite her condition, earning respect from the construction crew who initially doubted the pregnant foreigner. Today, however, Sophia was meeting with potential investors for a much larger project, a residential tower incorporating her most ambitious sustainable elements. Her newly hired assistant, Tarek, had prepared the presentation meticulously. "They've arrived," Tarek announced, ushering in 3 men in immaculate suits. "Mr. Al-Mansouri, Mr. Khalid, and Mr. Patel." The meeting began smoothly, with Sophia outlining her vision for the Helix, a spiraling residential tower with integrated gardens, water reclamation systems, and adaptive shading. The potential returns, both financial and environmental, were substantial. Mr. Khalid, the oldest of the 3, frowned. "Impressive projections, Ms. Reeves, but frankly, your condition concerns me. A new mother cannot possibly manage a project of this scale." Sophia had anticipated this objection. Without missing a beat, she pulled up slides showcasing her project management system, complete with contingency plans for her maternity leave. "Gentlemen, I've designed this process as meticulously as I've designed the building itself. My team is prepared to execute flawlessly during my brief absence. Additionally," she added with a smile, "becoming a mother has only strengthened my commitment to creating sustainable spaces for future generations." By the end of the meeting, all 3 had agreed to invest, albeit with heightened oversight during the initial phase. As they left, Tarek grinned. "You handled that brilliantly." "Necessity," Sophia replied, rubbing her lower back. "Now let's—" She stopped, feeling a warm gush between her legs. "I think my water just broke." 16 hours later, Sophia held her daughter for the first time. Zara Reeves entered the world with a powerful cry that seemed to announce her presence to all of Dubai. "She has your determination," observed Fatima, the midwife who had stayed with Sophia throughout her labor. Alone with her daughter in the hospital room, Sophia marveled at the tiny fingers wrapped around her thumb. "We're going to build something." Amazing together, she whispered. The first 3 months were a blur of midnight feedings, investor calls, and construction site visits with Zara strapped to her chest. Sophia refused to compromise either role, architect or mother, often working with Zara sleeping in a bassinet beside her desk. The hotel project progressed ahead of schedule. Rihanna, who had become both business partner and friend, proved invaluable in navigating the complexities of Dubai's business landscape. When male contractors or officials dismissed Sophia, Rihanna's family influence quickly corrected their attitude. In Dubai, respect often follows power, Rihanna explained, after smoothing over a particularly difficult negotiation. You're creating your own power base now. 6 months after Zara's birth, Sidr Oasis Hotel opened to considerable media attention. Its striking design, curved surfaces mimicking sand dunes, interior courtyards with temperature-regulating pools, and facade gardens filtering the harsh sunlight, captivated architectural photographers and environmental journalists alike. When the first energy consumption reports came in 43% below comparable properties, developers started calling. Sophia's calendar filled with meetings, and Vertex Designs expanded, hiring 3 more architects and 2 project managers. As Zara's first birthday approached, Sophia received an email from Olivia with a link to a British architectural journal. The headline read, "Trouble at Reeves Properties, Flagship Development Halted Amid Financial Concerns." According to the article, Ethan's latest project, a luxury residential complex in East London, had been plagued by design flaws, construction, delays, and budget overruns. Investors were pulling out, and regulatory authorities were investigating potential building code violations. Sophia felt no satisfaction at the news, only a distant sadness for what might have been. That evening, as she watched Zara taking her first wobbly steps across their apartment's living room, she realized how completely her life had transformed in just 18 months. The next day, standing before the scale model of the Helix, now fully funded and beginning construction, Sophia felt a surge of pride. She had created this, rebuilt herself from the ground up, just as surely as the tower would soon rise from Dubai's sands. "Ms. Reeves," Tarek interrupted her thoughts, "the Architectural Digest photographer is here for your interview." Sophia straightened her shoulders and smoothed her dress. It was time to show the world what she had become. The Ascension, 3 years passed in a whirlwind of construction, expansion, and accolades. Sophia stood on the observation deck of the Helix, now the most talked-about residential building in Dubai, watching the sunset paint its twisting facade in gold and amber. At 40 stories tall, the building wasn't Dubai's largest, but its revolutionary design had earned Vertex Designs international recognition. "Mama, look!" 4-year-old Zara pressed her face against the glass, pointing excitedly at the buildings. Vertical gardens where date palms and desert plants thrived in specially designed microclimate zones. "Our trees are growing." "They certainly are," Sophia smiled, smoothing her daughter's dark curls. Zara had her mother's determination and creativity, already filling notebooks with childish drawings of buildings that help people. Below them, the city stretched out in a gleaming tapestry of ambition and innovation. Somewhere in that landscape were 6 more Vertex projects in various stages of completion, including the headquarters for the Regional Sustainable Development Council, a commission that had come after the Helix won the prestigious Global Green Architecture Award. Sophia's phone buzzed with a message from Rihanna. "CNN interview confirmed for next week. They're calling you the future of desert architecture." The media attention had been building steadily since the Helix opened its doors. Architectural journals praised Sophia's integration of traditional cooling methods with cutting-edge technology. Environmental publications highlighted the building's minimal carbon footprint. Business magazines marveled at how she'd turned sustainability into luxury. Vertex Designs now occupied an entire floor in a premium office tower, employing 28 people from 12 different countries. Sophia had become known for mentoring young female architects, particularly those from conservative backgrounds whose talents might otherwise have been overlooked. Ms. Reeves? Her new personal assistant, Jamal, approached respectfully. Your 4 o'clock is waiting, and Ms. Al-Fahim asked me to remind you about dinner tonight with the Singapore delegation. Thank you, Jamal. Could you ask Mina to take Zara back to the office playroom? I'll wrap up this meeting as quickly as possible. As Zara skipped away with her nanny, Sophia's thoughts turned to the Singapore delegation. Julian Wong was retiring, and his firm was merging with another company. He'd flown in specifically to discuss a potential partnership with Vertex, an expansion that would give her access to the rapidly developing Asian market. The meeting with her current client, a hospitality group planning eco-resorts throughout the UAE, ran longer than expected. By the time Sophia returned to her office, she had barely 30 minutes to prepare for dinner. "These came for you," Jamal said, indicating an elaborate floral arrangement on his desk. Cards attached. The handwriting on the envelope was instantly familiar. Ethan's. Sophia's stomach tightened as she opened it. "Congratulations on your continued success. I'm in Dubai for the International Property Expo and would appreciate the opportunity to meet. There's much I'd like to discuss. Ethan." Sophia stared at the note, emotions churning. According to Olivia's occasional updates, Ethan's professional downfall had been swift after the East London fiasco. Reeves Properties had declared bankruptcy 2 years ago. His relationship with Veronica had ended around the same time, amid rumors of financial strain and infidelity. "Is everything all right?" Jamal asked, noting her expression. "Yes," Sophia said, tucking the card into her pocket. "Just an unexpected blast from the past. Please have these donated to the Children's Hospital." That evening, at dinner with Julian and the Singapore delegation, Sophia found it difficult to focus. The proposal they outlined was exceptional, a joint venture that would position Vertex as a global leader in sustainable architecture. "You've exceeded every expectation I had for you," Julian told her proudly as they sipped coffee after the meal. "From that heartbroken woman who arrived in Singapore 4 years ago to this, an architectural visionary changing how cities function in challenging environments. I had an excellent mentor," Sophia replied warmly. Later that night, after putting Zara to bed, Sophia stood on her penthouse balcony overlooking the city she now called home. The lights of her buildings, Cedar Oasis, the Helix, and others, were visible among Dubai's spectacular skyline, each one a testament to her resilience. Her phone chimed with an email notification. A property publication had just released its annual Influencers in Architecture list. Sophia had ranked 3rd globally, while Ethan was nowhere to be seen. After a moment's hesitation, she composed a brief response to his note. "I'm available. For coffee tomorrow at 10 a.m., Cedar Oasis Hotel lobby." So, whatever Ethan wanted, Sophia realized she was finally ready to face him, not as the woman he had betrayed, but as the architect of her own destiny. The reckoning. The lobby of Cedar Oasis Hotel hummed with activity. Tourists admiring the indoor waterfall that cooled the space naturally. Business travelers conducting meetings in the seating areas designed to maximize privacy while minimizing environmental impact. This place that had launched Sophia's Dubai career now felt like a physical manifestation of her journey. She spotted Ethan immediately. 5 years had aged him considerably. Gray streaked his once perfectly styled hair, and fine lines etched his face. He wore an expensive suit, but it hung slightly loose, as though tailored for a more substantial version of himself. His eyes widened when he saw her approach. "Sophia," he said, rising, "thank you for meeting me." "Of course," she replied, gesturing to a quiet corner. "How long are you in Dubai?" "Just until tomorrow. The expo was educational. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Your buildings are the talk of the conference. Everyone wants to know how Vertex achieves such efficiency without compromising luxury. We prioritize innovation over convention, Sophia said simply. Something you once valued too. A waiter approached, and they ordered coffee. Ethan's gaze kept returning to her, studying the changes 5 years had wrought. While he had diminished, Sophia had bloomed. Confidence radiated from her posture, her voice, her very presence. I saw your feature in Architectural Digest, he said finally. The helix is extraordinary. I always knew you were talented, but this level of success, he shook his head. I underestimated you. Many people did, Sophia replied, neither accepting nor rejecting his implicit apology. You mentioned there was something specific you wanted to discuss? Ethan took a deep breath. Several things, actually. First, I wanted to apologize. The way I treated you, the things I said, they were unforgivable. I was blinded by ego and insecurity. Sophia nodded, acknowledging his words without offering absolution. Second, he continued, I wanted to meet my daughter. Just once, if that's all you'll allow. The request caught Sophia off guard. In 5 years, Ethan had never attempted to be part of Zara's life. No birthday cards, no child support beyond what the divorce settlement mandated, not even a request for photos. Why now? She asked. Because I've lost everything else, he admitted, vulnerability cracking his carefully maintained facade. The company, my reputation, my so-called friends. When I saw what you've built here, what I threw away, I realized my priorities were completely backward. He reached into his jacket, producing a small velvet box. This belonged to my grandmother. I'd like Zara to have it, regardless of your decision about meeting her. Inside was a delicate emerald pendant on a gold chain. It's beautiful, Sophia acknowledged, but material gifts don't make up for absent parenting. I know, Ethan said quietly, which brings me to my final request. He hesitated, then continued. I want to work for you. Not as an executive or partner. I haven't earned that. But as a project manager, even an assistant, I can still contribute value, and I want to learn from what you've created. Sophia stared at him, momentarily speechless. The man who had once dismissed her as incompatible with the life he was building now wanted to join the empire she'd created without him. That's unexpected, she managed finally. I understand if you refuse, Ethan said quickly. I've researched positions with other firms too, but none are doing work as meaningful as Vertex. Before Sophia could respond, her phone buzzed with a text from Mina. Zara wants to know if you'll be home for her dance practice. The message centered her. Whatever decision she made needed to prioritize Zara's well-being, not her own complex emotions about Ethan. I need time to consider both. Requests, she told him. Meeting Zara would be her choice too. She's old enough to have a say. As for employment, Vertex has a rigorous hiring process. Ethan nodded, accepting these terms. As they prepared to part ways, he asked hesitantly, Are you happy, Sophia? Truly? She thought about her daughter's laughter, the satisfaction of seeing her designs transform lives, the community of friends and colleagues she'd built. Yes, she said simply. I am. Walking back to her office through the sunlit streets of Dubai, Sophia felt an unexpected lightness. The meeting hadn't provided the vindication she might once have craved. That had come through her own achievements. Instead, it offered something more valuable: closure. That evening, as she helped Zara practice her dance routine in their living room, Sophia contemplated the future. Perhaps someday Zara would want to know her father. Perhaps Ethan deserved a chance at redemption. Or perhaps some bridges, once burned, should remain crossed only in memory. The decision didn't need to be made immediately. For now, she was content watching her daughter twirl across the floor of the home they'd made together, with the city they'd helped shape glittering beyond the windows. Later, standing on her balcony with a glass of wine, Sophia gazed at Dubai's skyline, a testament to human ambition and resilience. Among the countless gleaming towers, her buildings stood distinct, not just in design, but in purpose. Her phone chimed with a message from Julian. Singapore contract signed. Asia awaits your vision. Sophia smiled. This chapter of rebuilding was complete, but her story, and Zara's, was still being written. Whatever role Ethan might play in it would be on her terms, shaped by the strength she'd discovered in herself. From betrayal had come independence. From loss had come creation. From endings had come the most extraordinary of beginnings. And as the desert night enfolded Dubai in darkness, the lights of the helix spiraled upward like a beacon, illuminating not just the city, but the limitless possibilities that lay ahead.